Have you ever stopped to think about your friendships as a kind of math problem? It sounds a little weird, I know, but today we're diving into this incredible piece of work by Thaddeus Mitchell called The Quiet Mathematics of Friendship. And the whole idea is that friendship isn't just some feeling, some vibe you catch. Nope. It's a practice, it's a set of skills that, believe it or not, we can all get better at. So let's get into it.
Man, this quote really just sets the entire stage, doesn't it? It's asking us to look at our relationships with a really clear eye. Not just how they feel, but what effect they actually have on us. Are the people in your life adding value? Or are they kind of dividing you from the person you want to be? It's a super powerful question to keep in the back of your mind as we go through this.
All right, so here's our roadmap for today. First, we're going to unpack that basic friendship equation. Then, we'll get into a field guide for spotting the real ones, the true friends. After that, we're going to flip the script and look at our side of the street, how to be a good friend. Then, we'll tackle the big one, boundaries. And finally, we'll talk about the tough but super necessary skill of knowing when and how to let go.
Okay, let's dive into section 1, the friendship equation. The central idea here is a massive, and I mean massive, shift in perspective. The source argues that real, lasting friendship isn't some passive, magical vibe that just happens. It's an active, ongoing practice. It's something you do.
And this idea of small proofs is absolutely key. See, friendship isn't really about one big, heroic, save-the-day gesture. It's about hundreds of tiny, consistent actions. It's that text checking in after you had a big meeting. It's them remembering your weird coffee order. These are the little pieces of evidence that, when you stack them up over time, prove a friendship is real and, reliable.
So, how does this whole small proofs idea actually help us in the real world? Well, that brings us right to section 2, spotting true friends. Think of this as the diagnostic part of our guide. If friendship is a practice, then what are the specific behaviors we should actually be looking for?
Okay, here are the core behaviors. A true friend shows up in the boring, ordinary times, not just for the parties or the crises. They match your energy with actual effort. They tell you the hard truths, but always with respect. And a huge one, they celebrate your wins without making it about them. And maybe most crucially, they know how to repair things when they go wrong. They offer a real apology, not just an excuse.
The truth is often in the tiny details, the micro signals. Just look at this comparison. A green flag isn't just asking, what do you need? It's being proactive, saying, hey, I'm dropping off dinner at 6. A red flag? That joke that always seems to have a little too much bite to it. Or how about that friend who gets so loud when you're struggling, but goes mysteriously quiet the moment you succeed? These little signals, they tell a really, really big story.
This is just such a perfect way to wrap up this section. With true friends, you don't feel like you're constantly being tested or that you have to perform to earn your spot. It's just a settled feeling, They're already cast in the movie of your life, and you're cast in theirs. No audition necessary.
Okay, time for a pivot. Section 3, the practice of friendship, is where we turn the camera around. It's not just about what we should look for in other people, but about how we show up. And, just as importantly, how to do that in a way that's sustainable so we don't burn ourselves out. So what does being a true friend actually look like in practice? Well, it starts with consistency over intensity. Small, regular check-ins mean so much more than one huge gesture a year. And this one is huge. Ask, don't assume. One of the most powerful questions you can ask a friend is, do you need advice right now, or do you just need me to listen? And in this day and age, this last one is vital. Their secrets, their stories, they are not your content to share, period. Which leads us perfectly into section 4, boundaries, your user manual. And I just love this subtitle, the bridge, not the wall. Because we so often think of boundaries as something that pushes people away. But this reframes them as a tool for creating healthier, stronger, and more sustainable connections. It is so important to get this distinction right. A boundary isn't about controlling someone else. It's not saying, you can't yell at me. It's saying, if you start yelling, I will hang up the phone. See the difference? The focus is on what you will do. It's an act of self-respect, not an attempt to manipulate somebody else.
And here's the practical how-to guide. This formula is brilliant because it's simple, it's clear, and it's not accusatory. For example, when you cancel our plans last minute, I feel unimportant. I need at least 24 hours notice. If it happens again, I will stop holding that time open in my schedule. See? It's not a fight. It's just a calm, clear statement of your limits and what you will do to protect them. What a beautiful way to think about it.
right? Every single time you set and hold a healthy boundary, you are sending a message of care and protection to the person you're going to be tomorrow, next month, and next year. You are literally ensuring their future peace. And that brings us to our final section, and maybe the most difficult one, knowing how to let go. Because let's be real, sometimes, even with the best boundaries in the world, a relationship is just not healthy anymore. This is about how to end things with integrity and respect.
Does this feeling sound familiar? This is the key test for a one-sided dynamic. It's not about one bad day. It's a consistent pattern. You are always the one pouring into their cup, but it's never your turn to drink. You consistently leave feeling drained, not sustained. That feeling is not just a feeling, it's data. Pay attention to it. So, what can you actually do about it? Well, you've got a whole toolkit of options, and they don't all have to be a big dramatic blow-up. You can start by simply downgrading access. Moving from daily text to maybe a monthly check-in. Or it could be a formal pause. The key here is that you have options, and you get to choose the level of distance that feels right and, importantly, safe for you. Okay, putting this stuff into words can be the hardest part, which is why these scripts are basically gold. They are kind, they are clear, and they are firm. Look at that first one. It communicates that you care, it sets a super clear boundary, and it offers a concrete alternative. This is exactly how you protect your peace respectfully. As we start to wrap up, this is the message that really sits at the heart of this entire field guide. It's so easy to get caught up in managing everybody else's feelings that we end up betraying our own. But the ultimate responsibility you have is to be loyal to yourself, to your own peace and your own well-being. Let's end on this final, really powerful metaphor. You can have compassion for someone. You can wish them well. You can even love them from a distance. But that does not mean they get to have a revolving door of access to your life, especially if they consistently bring chaos. You are allowed to close the door. So think about that for a second. When you really audit your relationships through this mathematical lens, looking at who adds, who subtracts, who multiplies, it becomes so much clearer where your finite time and energy should go. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. So the question is, whose friendship? And let's start with the one you have with yourself. Will you choose to invest in first?